The human species has turned into a mass puppet show. Every individual dances different steps, smiles with no worries on their faces, care about things which have 0.000% contribution to their lives. They behave as if they can't control themselves. Their words does not hold any weight. Actions lose direction. Thoughts become corrupted by the subconscious capitalistic propaganda, and yet they think that they are free. How can the human mind, which has a capability of surpassing galaxies, can reduce to surface level opinions, ignoring every bit of important tasks that they should be worrying about, and just turning off their brains and submitting to zero intelligence behaviors? Well, it starts with the kid being born, a fresh new brain introduced into the giant show of circus, where people wear masks, talks clown language, walk on roads wearing sunglasses, blinding them from the shit in front of them, and then blame, blame, and blame. It was not my fault. The weather was bad today. My luck was not supporting me today. If only my parents did X. I am depressed and thus I can't do the things. Enough! The newborn brain fires itself on, opens the primal human survival manual, goes through it, and finds out that, oh, I can learn through observation. And thus, he watches the people around him do things. He starts to crawl, then he sits, then he stands, then he walks, and then he breaks, and then he talks, and then he pretends, and then he blames, and then he lies, and then he manipulates, and then he hurts, and then he opposes, and then he riots, and then he oppresses, and then he kills, and then after learning everything from the people around him, he finally teaches his own children the way of living. The newborn misuses the only good skill he has from birth, his observation, never learned to adopt correctly, and then blames the externalities when things go wrong. So, who is in the wrong here? Whose fault is that the child grows up to become an unfulfilled and unsatisfied and skin eating individual whose brain is raining with stress hormones and anxiety storms, and yet he can't figure out the solution because he's worried about which team is going to win the game today? Who? Who is the one to blame? You see the pattern here. Let's fast forward 2 decades of observation. A 20-year-old self, a self which has dreams and goals and ambitions and a to-do list and a phone addiction and focus issues and an orthodoxical belief system and a self-proclaimed crippling depressive element which they sleep with every night. The individual wakes up, spends the time on a previously defined task which are not defined by themselves but are actually imposed on by others, completes the task, gets back in the comfort bubble, and starts their distraction session until day 473 welcomes them. They keep on their ignorant facade, pretending to be wise and knowledgeable and successful. Yet they are jealous of their best friend with a better car, or that neighbor with a good looking partner, or that one guy on Instagram with materialistically pretentious extreme life. Yet they repeat, repeat, and repeat their cycle of negative repetition, a downward spiral which pulls them into an abyss gazing towards them until day D-1 arrives. And then they sit down, they look back, and falls in their nostalgic ride of faint memories, where they visit every second of remembered information stored in their neurological muscle, where they find out to only contain the times where they failed and failed and failed. It's filled to the brim with days and days where they could have lived like that, or thought about that, or done that, or acted like that, where they could have understood things properly and acted more seriously and put off their masks and stopped speaking clown language and removed their sunglasses. They ride and ride and ride all through those memories, all until their D day arrives.